Wish everyone a good morning to those in Harris Hall and those online, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Lane County Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. You know, the month of September is called the new beginning month when summer turns into fall. It's even said by some writers, our brain returns from vacation mode, which I thought was kind of amusing. But the serious work ahead of us, we've, as a board, have been had many meetings that funds are being cut and there's some really tough decisions going forward. So I just wanted to put that out that the board is wrestling with some large items, and you, the citizens of Lane County, if you pray or give thoughts or whatever you do to help us continue to lead and do the great work that we do, it would certainly be appreciated, because Steve Jobs said your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do the work that you believe is great work. So I hope you would wish great work upon us. So thank you. Mr. Rickoff, thank you for joining us today, sir, our Assistant County Administrator. How are you today, sir?
I am fine, thank you, Chair.
Good, good. Is there any adjustments or emergency business to our agenda?
Chair, level commissioners, there are no adjustments to the agenda from my side.
Okay, good deal. I've got one slight adjustment on behalf of the board. I have an adjustment here. At our last meeting, we became aware of some hateful flyers that were being directed to our Latino citizens in the Thurston area of our community. And as the board commissioners have committed to taking a clear stance against these kinds of acts, I directed and had a statement released from the board condemning powerfully the distribution and hurtful spirit these actions do to our community. We put a letter out September 25th. I want to read it in its entirety. To the Lane County community, the Lane County Board of County Commissioners strongly denounces the recent distribution of hateful flyers targeting our communities of color, and particularly our Latino community. These acts of intimidation and bias have no place in Lane County. We stand united in condemning these attempts to spread fear, division, and white nationalist ideology within our neighborhoods. Let us be clear, white nationalism, racism, and xenophobia are not welcome here. All of these flyers were not just pieces of paper, they were symbols of a larger system of hate that we must all actively reject. Our targeting of our Latino neighbors is not isolated. It is part of a broader pattern of hate and exclusion that affects other historically marginalized communities. We must respond to these acts not with silence, but with solidarity. As a board, we reiterate our pledge to confront hate in all of its forms and support communities who are targeted. We call on our residents to join us in actively rejecting hateful and racist rhetoric, reporting bias activity to the Oregon Department of Justice's Hate and Bias Hotline at 1-844-924-2427, and standing shoulder to shoulder with those under attack. Our safety and dignity are bound together. There's no place for hate in Lane County. On behalf of the Lane County Board of Commissioners, I signed that, David Lovell, Board Chair. And I'd like to just really quickly open up for any comments from the board if you'd like to add to that. Yes, Commissioner Trieger, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for reading that at the top of our meeting. I was going to ask you, and I was running a little late this morning, so I didn't get to ask you before the meeting if we would be doing that. And as you mentioned, this is, just so folks know, we do have a rapid response protocol in place, and so we determine as an organization if something rises to the level that deserves and that community would benefit from a response on behalf of the board. Staff uses that criteria, communicates internally, and helps craft statements like that for the chair to sign on behalf of the whole board. And I just want to make clear that is on behalf of the whole board, and just add my personal emphasis to the importance of us all looking out for one another. There's always a lot more that can be said. There are more groups that are under attack and threatened and particularly vulnerable right now, but that this was in response to one very specific group of our neighbors, and that that I just stand by the statement personally, as well as part of this body and this organization, our commitment to serve everyone in our community with fairness and with care. So thank you for that. And later I'll have a sort of an agenda assignment request around the structure of our agendas, somewhat related to that. So hoping I remember to do that this afternoon. Thank you again for reading that into the record, Chair.
You're welcome. All right, seeing no other comments, we'll move on to our number 3 item. The best part of our day today is our employee recognition. And I believe, is it Mr. Mike Finch will be heading that up? Who will be heading that up for our staff? Or Mr. Rickoff, is that you?
I'll open with some comments.
Okay, great, thank you.
Just a reminder, Steve Mokryski is out of town today at a national conference with Alana Holmes. And it's the luck of the draw in terms of who we get to recognize on days when I'm here in his place, and I am absolutely thrilled to be able to recognize Dario Lopez. I'll read in a moment the reason for the recognition, but need to share with you in every corner of this organization, when you see Dario walking in, if you were to have a computer problem, if you were to have a technology need, when you see Dario walking into the room, you smile. You know you're going to get remarkable service. You know you're going to have somebody who's going to view the problem, the issue, through your eyes, and that you've got a partner. So there could have been any number of reasons for Dario to be recognized. Today he's being recognized because of his strategic thinking. And Mike, I'm worried there's a little bit of feedback. There might be sound coming out of the laptop there. Thank you. So excuse me while I read. On behalf of Lane County, we proudly recognize and commend Dario Lopez, our county software administrator, for his exceptional initiative and strategic thinking that resulted in a minimum potential savings of over $100,000 with the county mobile phone services. Through a comprehensive review of public safety and government mobile service plans, Dario identified and implemented with multiple county departments the following savings. 109 smartphones transitioned to more effective plans, saving $6,500, shifting 89 tablets to an unlimited plan, saving $22,000, optimizing 733 smartphone lines and 25 tablets, saving $48,000, adjusting plans for 93 smartphones and 81 tablets, saving $25,000. This achievement reflects Dario's dedication to fiscal responsibility, innovation, and service excellence. His work exemplifies the county's commitment to being focused on solutions, continuous improvement, and responsible stewardship of public resources. Thank you for your outstanding contribution. With that, I think I'm going to pass it over to the department director.
Let Kim go first.
I just want to say Dario has been great in this role. We shifted it recently for this particular reason. He has really good strategic thinking and really does a good job of trying to consolidate and save money. So he has demonstrated that here, and we continue to look forward to more savings he can do.
I just add, as software administrator, there's over $6 million in costs that are managed under that program that adds up. You know, all those little fees, Adobe, Microsoft, all the little softwares out there, and having someone in there that's in there regularly looking, making sure when people are leaving the organization that we're closing those. It's a tremendous amount of work, and we're really, really fortunate to have Dario in there taking on that program and managing all of that, those expenses and those softwares wisely. Thank you.
Right, to the board. Mr. Buck, please.
I'll start off. Thank you. Thank you for thinking through all that, and anywhere where we can save funding and be more efficient. I know that that's, you know, a taxpayer priority for what we do, and I don't know how you do what you do, but being able to do that for such a large organization, it can be challenging because you have multiple contracts for different TS items. And thinking through and knowing which contracts you could actually do better at because of your base of knowledge is exactly what we want, right? And we appreciate your time and attention to even the tiniest details in order to help the organization. Thank you so very much for doing what you do each and every day. It sounds like this is just one example of the good work that you do. And I love being able to start the day with enjoying and thanking and congratulating our staff. So thank you again for your work and for working for Lane County.
Mr. Trigger.
Sure, thank you. Congratulations on the recognition, well-deserved. I say this anytime someone from TS is before us for recognition, which is that the work of that department in particular is invisible, but it's so foundational to us functioning as a county and delivering service. So it's not that frontline direct service delivery, but without what you all do, the service delivery couldn't happen. It's so structural and integral to everything that we do here at Lane County. And so, so thank you. Just to echo Commissioner Buck, thank you for being such a good fiscal steward and so thoughtful, and for choosing Lane County and being part of a team that really just helps truly keep the most foundational services internally operating, so we can deliver the services externally to the people in the community. Thank you.
Commissioner Farr, please.
You know, I'm not the only one in this room, I'm sure, that just is in awe of the type of work that you do, that all of you do for that matter, and the people who sit and stand behind you and work with you. Because it's magic, it's transformational, and it's something that I could never get into very deeply at all because of the nature of it and because of the dynamic nature of it. So I'm not just talking about the smartphones and what we're specifically talking about today, Dario, but the things that you do that make, the things that you do instinctively and automatically that makes my job more automatic, things that I don't have to worry about, things that I just take for granted, that you're doing the job. And every day you're on the job. Every day I click on this thing, and the team that's represented by the three of you right here and some others sitting in the room, it's just amazing. When I came to America, I couldn't believe that Americans had phones in their homes. And here I am sitting in an environment that you just make everything so easy for everybody. I can't even say enough words for it. Thanks very much.
Vice Chair?
Yes, thanks, Chair. Dario, I'll get to you in just a second, but I do want to thank all of TS real quick. Director Finch, you're doing a great job. I see Jill in the back, Nina in the back, Kim, everybody, thanks for being here. It means a lot to see you guys. I don't have a lot of issues with my computer. Everything always works. You guys are doing a great job. That's TS, right? We don't hear from you guys. But I know a lot of you by name. I mean, Ryan comes up through the offices, and it's great to see Ryan and talk to him for a couple of seconds. I got to see AJ at the farmer's market the other day, and I don't get to see AJ anymore. And just so you're, Director Finch, you're doing a great job with your staff. You have amazing staff. You do. This is a case in point right here. And I know you have your hands full keeping on to all these great employees, because I'm sure they're on the radar for other places. Dario, you've got a great smile, and you always show it off. I enjoy seeing you in the halls. I enjoy when you're helping with, I think the latest thing, or the last thing you helped me with was a new monitor install. And, you know, that was a while ago. And our budget dollars are so precious right now. I mean, that's all we hear about. I mean, last week was just rough. I mean, it was budget after budget after budget. And to get some great news where we're saving $100,000, that is an overachieving moment, and I just want to take a second to thank you for that, and we appreciate all the hard work you're putting into it. Thank you.
Appreciate all you guys. Thank you.
Well, Dario, you've got lots of praise this morning, especially for what you've saved. And, you know, standard issue in tech services, I think Mike should start be giving out Superman capes, because you all come in and save the day for everyone, and we've recognized that very astutely from the dais. But, you know, all kidding aside, you have great passion for what you do, and the passion benefits everyone around you. And so I want to continue to just pour in to anything I can do and the board can do to help you with your passions, to help pouring into the community and the county, because it means so much to us to have people like you and people like that you affect with your positiveness in our organization. So I want to also thank you for what you do that can't adequately be measured, but except in this case, $100,000. So thank you for that as well. And your excellence also crosses many paths. I mean, you heard the comments from the board here where it says your smile, your attitude, the things you do in the hallway, the things you do in your work, things how you relate to your other workers is all valuable input to the organization. And we can't value that enough. And the value to us is way more than $100,000. But I want to thank you for saving us that money too, as well. All right, anything else? You have a nice little certificate and a gold watch for Dario, I would presume?
Gold watch did not make it
Darn.
yet, but we do have a certificate today.
$100,000 watch.
Great job.
Good job. Thanks, Dario. Dario, anything to add from your, you have the mic, sir?
I just want to say that thank you very much. You know, I do this, you know, not for recognition, just because I do love to support the county and the people that work here and live here. You know, as a taxpayer, I want to make sure that my money gets spent right. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you.
Great perspective. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move on to our next item of our agenda is our public comment section. I have a list coming my way shortly. Thank you, Rio. Not a big, long list today. Thank you very much. So the public can speak here in Harris Hall or online. Time is limited to 3 minutes. We'll ask you to please watch the clock on the screen here and stop at the 3-minute mark so we can be fair to everyone who comes forward. You can also submit public comments via our website in writing at least 24 hours ahead of the meeting to be included in the weekly meeting packet. If you would, when you come to the podium, please state your name and your 3 minutes will start. Chris Cirillo is first, followed by David Eigel.
Good morning. My name is Chris Cirillo. Thank you for having me, commissioners and friends. When we think about the founding of our nation, it's important that we remember that it was not merely an experiment in political theory. When we think about the founding of our nation, we must remember it did not begin as a single entity. We were first a collection of states, distinct peoples and communities who chose to unite under shared values and a common faith. It was a covenantal act born from men who, regardless of their flaws, which all of us have, believed deeply that true freedom could not exist apart from faith. We need to remember that 9 of the original 13 states required government office holders to profess Jesus Christ as Lord. All 13 required a declaration of faith. The majority of men who signed the Declaration of Independence were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. And when they wrote that document, they appealed specifically in the final paragraph to the, quote, supreme judge of the universe, end quote, who is Jesus Christ. William Blackstone, if you're familiar, whose commentaries shaped our legal system, rooted his understanding of the common law in Scripture. The presumption of innocence, trial by jury, equal justice for rich and poor alike, these were not inventions of the Enlightenment, but were biblical principles. Deuteronomy was actually the most quoted book when the Constitution was being formed. Then John Adams, our second president, gave us a sobering reminder. Our Constitution was made for only a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. In other words, liberty cannot long survive apart from godly virtue. This is why we now find ourselves in a crisis. Our Constitution still assumes a godly, moral people, but our culture has wandered far from that foundation. Liberty cannot survive apart from virtue, and virtue cannot survive apart from Christ. So, let us turn to prayer. Lord Jesus Christ, you are the supreme judge of the universe, and before you every knee shall bow. I ask that you open the eyes of the hearts of every man, woman, and child to see you as Lord and Savior. Remind us of the truth of our history, that our nation's freedoms were forged in the fires of faith, and that without true righteousness, liberty crumbles. Restore to us the fear of the Lord, which is the beginning of all wisdom, and may we once again become a moral and faith-filled people. Let true godly justice reign, and let love of neighbor mark our common life. We ask that your Spirit would bring revival, awakening, and renewal so that our government, our families, and our communities would be more aligned with your will. We pray this in the name of Jesus Christ, the King of Kings and the true judge of all the earth. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. And David Eigel is up next, and then we'll go to our online queue if anyone's there.
Good morning, David Eigel. Speaking of attacks on groups of people, my historical work relates, in fact, to singling out of white Protestants and creating a fake history of how terrible people they were. And my work has particularly got started with, of course, Professor Dunn, who was a great man. His great-great-grandson was going to attend the University of Oregon in 2016 when Mr. Schill got into his nonsense, and as a result, his family, he were deeply hurt. He left. He did not enroll. He went somewhere else, and things worked out well, I'm happy to report. But I've talked to other people, and they're not pleased about their being smeared. Incidentally, I've sent you all an example of something that was recently posted at the Lake County History Museum that's absolute nonsense, and I know you got a lot on your plate right now, so I just want to remind you that no response has come yet. I want to point out some examples of the horrible scholarship, if you want to call it that. Basically, there was no scholarship in the Dunn report. They didn't really do any real research, and they cooked up a fake story about a violent white supremacist, murderous clan here that was in the 1920s that never existed. Actually, it was a fraternal order that was run by crooks who were doing a money hustle, and this was going on nationwide. We're just one example. Just to give you an idea, co-author of the report, Marcia Wiesiger's foreword in her opus work on another topic, the foreword ends, "In this volume, we learn how good it is to think with a sheet." In this volume, we learn how good it is to think with a sheet. That's what I'm dealing with when I deal with these people. One of the things the Dunn report said was that Dunn's thinking was unknown. Well, he was very well known. He was like a Dave Frohnmeyer figure in the community, known across the state, beloved and everything. That's absolutely silly. It was unknown because of the secrecy of the Klan was essential to his existence. This is absolute nonsense. It was very public. They sometimes had advertised public meetings where people could come in and participate and listen to what's going on. In 1925, they had an office in downtown Eugene with a telephone, a public directory. I mean, this gives you an idea how these people had no idea what they were talking about. So I guess that's probably enough for now. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and obviously I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. And to Tanya, anyone online?
Thanks, Chair. There is no one online to give public testimony.
Right, sounds good. Thank you all for your public comment, for coming to Harris Hall this morning. We greatly appreciate it, for sparing your time and giving us your important information. Thank you. Our next item is our consent calendar. Item 5, all items listed here are routine by the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If a discussion is desired, that item would have been removed from the consent calendar and would be considered separately. Details on each item can be found in the blue links attached to the item descriptions. Vice Chair, I'm looking for a motion on our consent calendar.
Yes, Chair, I move approval of consent calendar for September 30th, 2025.
And second. Thank you. It's been moved by Vice Chair and seconded by Commissioner Buck to approve the consent calendar. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Okay, we have our Public Works items coming up. Bear with us, there's lots of reading ahead. So we're going to dive into those first readings here right quick. Let me grab my script right here. Next is our proposed ordinance 2505. Is there a request from any commissioner to read the ordinance in full? If not, I'll read it by title only. Seeing none, I'll read. First reading and second reading and public hearing for ordinance 2505 in the matter of amending Lane Code, Chapter 9, Sections 9.005.005, 9.005.010, 9.010.005, 9.010.050, 9.015.005, 9.020.005, 9.020.010, 9.20.015, 9.020.020, 9.020.025, 9.020.030, 9.020.035, and 9.020.040 to adopt new provisions related to the Oregon Recycling Modernization Act and conforming and aligning language to Lane County standards. Now, there'll be a test on all those numbers in a minute, but with us we have Angie Marzano, our Waste Reduction Program Supervisor, to introduce the item. Angie, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Chair and the Board. The Board is being asked to approve amendments to Lane Code Chapter 9. These changes reflect minor grammatical errors, consistency of terminology, with largest edits to Section 9.005.010, definitions, and 9.01500, urban growth area boundary recycling regulations. These changes are necessary for Lane County to comply with Oregon Revised Statutes and Oregon Administrative Rules, Chapter 340, which set forth new provisions related to the Recycling Modernization Act. On January 1, 2022, the Oregon Legislature passed the Plastic Pollution and Recycling Modernization Act, otherwise known as SB 582. The law went into effect statewide July 1 of 2025. The amendments being proposed to Lane Code Chapter 9 align with the definitions and requirements outlined in Oregon Revised Statute and Oregon Administrative Rules, specifically Chapter 340, which establish the minimum provisions for providing the opportunity to recycle. These rules also describe the standards for waste prevention, reuse, recovery, and recycling programs in Oregon. The amendments are specific to cities and counties over the population of 4,000 in the area between those city limits and the urban growth boundary.
All right, great. Thank you, Ms. Barzano, for that. As I want to point out, this is simply a first reading. The board is reminded that any substantive questions for staff or discussion on this matter should be reserved until the second reading and public hearing. This is so members of the public with an interest in this matter will have the benefit of hearing those discussions. With that said, are there any logistical or non-substantive questions that the board has at this time? Seeing none, I will call for a motion on this matter.
Chair, I have a motion. I move to set a second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 25-05 on October 14th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. in Harris Hall, time certain.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great, it's been moved by Vice Chair and seconded by Commissioner Buck. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. The motion passes 5-0. Carries the second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2505 and is set for October 14th, 2025, 1:30 p.m. in Harris Hall. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, our second item is another lengthy reading. Good morning. How are you, Rachel? Our next item is proposed ordinance 2507. Is there a request from any commissioner to read the ordinance in full? Trust me, the title's long enough. All right. If not, I'll go ahead and read that. First reading and second reading and public hearing for ordinance 2507 in the matter of amending Lane Code Chapter 16 to adopt clear and objective standards for housing in residential areas in sections 16.090 definitions, 16.237 significant natural shorelines combining zone, 16.238 prime wildlife shorelands combining zone, 16.239 natural resource conservation combining zone, 16.240 residential development shorelands combining zone, 16.241 shorelands mixed development combining zone, 16.242 dredge material mitigation site combining zone, 16.243 beaches and dunes combining zone, 16.253 stream riparian regulations rural comprehensive metro plan, and 16.254 greenway development permit rural comprehensive plan as required by Oregon Revised Statute 197A.400. Updating references in other sections of Lane Code and adopting a savings and severability clause and declaring an emergency refile number 509-PA25-05301. With us, we have Rachel Surslev, our senior planner, and to introduce this item. So go ahead, please, Rachel.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Commissioners. For the record, this is Rachel Surslev, senior planner. For the Lane Code amendments for clear standards for housing in residential areas. And we also have Kevin Gilbride, senior planner, and he's joining online for moral support, but he'll be here in person for co-presenting at the public hearing. This is a first reading for ordinance 2507, also identified as Land Management Division File Number 509-PA25-05301. And this is a code amendment project initiated by the Land Management Division to amend Land Use Code to reflect the changes made by House Bill 3197. And per this House bill, local governments may only apply clear and objective standards regulating the development of housing on lands in unincorporated communities, non-resource lands, and area zones for rural residential use. On July 29th, 2025, a public hearing with the Lane County Planning Commission was held regarding this project. The commission continued the hearing to August 5th, 2025 to avoid any procedural error related to noticing of the amendments. And on August 5th, the commission closed the hearing and motioned to forward a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners to adopt the proposed amendments as written. Therefore, the item before you today is a first reading and a request that the board set a second reading and a public hearing for October 14th, 2025, time certain at 1:30 p.m. And at that time, staff will provide a more comprehensive staff report on the project, and there will be an opportunity for public comment. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Ms. Surslev, and thank you for your moral support there, Mr. Gilbride. Appreciate that very much. This is simply a first reading. The board is reminded that any substantive questions for staff or discussion on this matter should be reserved until the second reading and public hearing. This is so any members of the public with an interest in this matter will have the benefit of hearing those discussions. That said, are there any logistical or non-substantive questions the board has at this time? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion and vote, please.
Chair, I have a motion. I move to set a second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 25-07 on October 14th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. in Harris Hall.
Thank you. Is there a second?
My only question is, both of these ordinances are at the same time?
We always do that.
Oh,
Meeting just starts at 1:30 and then it
Yeah.
rolls into the next one.
yeah.
Okay. Good. We have a motion and a motion by Vice Chair and a second by Commissioner Buck. I'll call for the vote. All those, or any discussion to the motion, rather? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. The motion carried. The second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2507 is set for October 14th, 2025, 1:30 at Harris Hall. Thank you very much for having us here and having you here for all that reading. Appreciate it. Our next item is our number 7 county council item, which we have a team of folks, maybe not quite all the team. This is our order number 25093008 in the matter of amending Lane Manual Chapter 2 to update our diversity policy in regards to Lane Manual 2.055. And with us, it looks like we have our council person, assistant litigator, Ms. Mallory Beebe, and we also have Eve Gray, our Director of Health and Human Services. So welcome. Who wants to start?
I'll start. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Vice Chair and Commissioners. I am here on behalf of the Civil Rights Compliance Team and have Eve Gray here, who's one of the members of the team, as well as Mr. Rickoff, our Assistant County Administrator. Some other folks were just out of the office or in a conference, as Mr. Rickoff alluded to. We're bringing forward an update to Lane Manual Chapter 2.055, which is titled the Diversity Policy, as you mentioned. This policy was originally passed in 1994. It's gone through a couple of revisions, but its last update was in 2017. So really the primary purpose of being here today is to update the policy because it's outdated. And it doesn't reflect the work that we're currently doing in the equity work that the county is currently doing. And I also want to note for the record that it does, the current diversity policy does reference affirmative action plans. As a practical matter, the county has not been utilizing any affirmative action plans for some time. I'm not sure when the last time they used any of those, but that's one provision that we want to make sure to update as affirmative action plans do present a problem from the legal perspective. Given the county's continued commitment to the value of equity and respect, the team determined that updating the policy with the proposed language, which is how the county is defining its equity work, would be sort of the best way to move forward. So that's the language that you see proposed, is a sort of definition of the county's equity work moving forward. And the intent behind the new provision is really to just clarify that the equity work we are doing is, what its purpose is, but also that it is in alignment with current law. So, anything to add?
Great summation.
Yep, I think you did a great job. I think the only other thing I would say is that, it was a group effort to develop this new definition of equity, which is a reflection of both our ongoing commitment and the strategic direction of our equity programming within the county, and just really appreciate the opportunity for us to put that in place of this diversity policy so that we demonstrate our continued commitment to the work as it evolves.
Great, thank you very much. To the board, any questions or comments? Commissioner Trigger's busily writing. She's going to be up first, so give us a second. Or no, Vice Chair, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just go real quick. I just want to take a second to thank everybody that was involved in this committee. It was a very large lift and a lot of work during times where there was some uncertainty when we first started, so I'm glad we got to a place that, I'm glad we got to where we're at now. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
I'd like to add to my thanks as well. I think you guys did a stupendous job. Last when we met, when we had this meeting just last week, I expressed my appreciation and the great work that you've done to where I feel now everyone can belong to this organization in an equal fashion, and I think you guys addressed it very well. So I appreciate all the hard work. It was a tough lift, a lot of uncertainty as well. Yes, Commissioner Trigger, now you go ahead, please.
Thank you. I want to note there's nothing unusual about reviewing policy and rewriting policy. In fact, that's good governance, right? And but we're a large agency and we do a lot of things, so we have a lot of policies in place, and it can take time to come around to each one having its turn. The catalyst for why this particular policy had to be examined and looked at is concerning, but I'm glad because it's been an opportunity for us as an agency to get really clear on, as you say, alignment is a great word, and aligned on our values and our unwavering commitment to equity. And that is clearly demonstrated by us codifying that commitment into our strategic plan with a unanimous vote of this board and a lot of work from staff and our wonderful consultants that guided us through that. I also want to thank the Civil Rights Compliance team. There is ongoing work that you all are faced with, and everyone I know is really taking that work seriously and recognizes the importance of it in terms of how it's going to impact our ability to serve people in the community. But I do also just want to name that not everyone on that committee is equally impacted by having to have those conversations and lean into that work. So I am appreciative of everyone who has big workloads, and this is a heavy topic and a challenging climate to do it in, but I especially want to thank and appreciate those on the committee who are uniquely impacted on a personal level by having to explore these issues and have these conversations and able to maintain their professionalism while they do it. I'm really grateful to the folks who are doing this work. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, see no other comments? I'm ready for a motion, Vice Chair. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Farr, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to echo everybody's thanks to you personally and to the team that went into bringing this forward to us today. No small amount of work, no small amount of thought went into the process. I'd like to point out to anyone who is watching online or anyone who may watch that the full language and the replacement of 2.055 in Lane Manual is included in the board packet, which you can tap, and all the verbiage is in there. The stricken words from the chapter and the replacement words are online today. And by the way, Mallory, thank you for taking time with me personally yesterday to really upgrade my understanding of the work that you've done. And it'll help me with a presentation that I'm going to be giving today at noon to a fairly large group of people who will be very interested in today's action. Thank you.
Happy to help, Commissioner Farr.
Okay.
I just concur with everybody. I too appreciate the work, so and say it better than everybody else.
Chair, I move to approve Order 2509-3009 in the matter of approving a contract amendment. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. County Council, I move to approve Order 25-09-30-08 in the matter of amending Lane Manual, Chapter 2, to update the diversity policy, LM 2.055. Yeah, that's it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Vice Chair and seconded by Commissioner Buck to move order number 25093008 in the matter of updating Lane Manual, Chapter 2, Section 2.055 Diversity Policy, subject to Lane Manual 2.055. Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Good, thank you very much. We're at the finish line. Good work.
Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, looks like we're buzzing through the morning fairly quickly. Our item number 8, our county administration item. We have an order before us in the matter of approving a contract amendment with Spear MC Management Consulting, Inc. to implement the grants and commitment control modules in the county's PeopleSoft financial system and delegating authority to the county administrator to execute the approved amendment and all future contract amendments that do not cause the contract total expense to exceed $2.667,300,000. And with us is Lauren Blythe, and James is with us as well. Greg, God, why did I get you guys mixed up? Greg, I'm sorry. Greg Holmes is with us, our financial services manager and county treasurer. So, gentlemen, who wants to start?
I'll begin.
Okay, please.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners. Lauren Blythe, Director of Operations. This item this morning is for the board's consideration to amend a contract with Spear MC Management Firm for the implementation of commitment control and grant management features in our PeopleSoft finance system. The last comprehensive review of our financial system was done in 2004. At that time, it was determined that commitment control would be a beneficial feature for the county, but that feature was never implemented. Since then, the county's growth in transactional volume in our finance system and increased dependence on federal and state grants as revenue sources requires that we now have a more sophisticated means of managing encumbrances and grants. To address this need, a team consisting of technology services, central finance, our budget team, and county department finance staff across the county was assembled in May of 2024 to identify potential solutions to address this need. A competitive solicitation was conducted, and Spear MC was selected as the most advantageous vendor. Spear MC has over 25 years of expertise, specializing in the modernization of PeopleSoft systems in the public sector. Through a diligent assessment phase of over 5 months, Spear MC and financial administrators across county departments identified features within the currently owned and licensed PeopleSoft system that could address our needs. In its current state, our finance system is not configured to efficiently manage budget encumbrances and the complexities associated with grant tracking, monitoring, reporting. Reporting requirements and expectations have changed over time, particularly in the 20 years since the last evaluation was done. And the current system as it currently is configured is inefficient in meeting our needs to manage those expectations and needs. The assessment also identified a need to standardize processes across the county. We currently operate in a decentralized manner across our 12 departments, and processes have varied over time. If this amendment is approved, the implementation would standardize these processes, implement the said features, decrease reliance on individual spreadsheets and what we'd refer to as shadow systems, and bring real-time reporting. If approved, this amendment for the consulting services from Spear MC would launch a 2-year countywide project that would align our use of our finance system with industry best practices. There are no new ongoing costs as a result of this amendment or this project.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Mr. Blythe. Any questions or comments from the board? Yes, Vice Chair.
Yeah, so I mean, we have, the county has a lot going on. And PeopleSoft seems to be kind of the hub that we operate our finances off of. And so is this just for grants alone, what we're doing now? Or is this, it's been 21 years since the system's been looked at. Does that make sense? Is this just helping our grant system?
Vice Chair Seneca, good question. Thank you. No, this is not just about grants. This is also about what is referred to as commitment control, and it's also known as encumbrances. Those are the two main features. There are quite a few other smaller features and processes that this project will address, and again, best align us with industry standard and best align us with the intended use of the system. In the 20 years, the 2004 assessment or evaluation identified commitment control as the main feature in need at that time. And at that time, we were about 5 years away from the initial implementation of the system, so there was a lot more consistency and standardization. And since that time, we've just varied, again, with our decentralized nature of our model. Departments have come to do things in slightly different ways, and it has brought some inefficiencies, and this project would address that.
Well, excellent. That was actually going to be my next question. So when you mentioned standardize, that's each department is going to be doing things the same way, which will help people like Sean Hubble out that are looking at these. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Excellent. Good news.
Commissioner Buck.
If you could just define commitment control a little bit, that would be helpful.
So commitment control or encumbrances is the means by which the system is aware of any commitments or obligations for expenses at the time that they're made, as opposed to placing an order online or over the phone, and it's not entered into the system, and only the person placing that order or making that obligation is aware of it. So the system would corral that essentially and require that those commitments be entered into the system prior to those obligations being made.
So this is basically your accounts payable program, like for all bills that are coming in that are due. But if different departments do it in a different way, that could be challenging. So it sounds like this will standardize all the departments for putting in those invoices in one location. Am I getting that right?
Chair level, Commissioner Buck, yes, and we've had departments create, I think Lauren might have undersold it a little bit when he said spreadsheets. We were actually talking about hundreds and hundreds of spreadsheets independently kept in departments as they try to track these dollars. It will bring not only consistency to the system, it's going to provide cross-training. We run into problems as we transition staff out of the organization and that historic memory leaves us. We run into issues when we have crises, events when we're going into emergency operations and we can't plug and play staff to understand how to be consistent in tracking those dollars. So we have multiple tracking systems that may or may not catch everything. What this will do will minimize the chance that we're going to lose track of dollars and spend them twice or thrice. And it will give us kind of the cross-training, the depth of bench where should a department like Health and Human Services a few years ago after COVID, when they lost almost 100% of their financial staff, we would be able to lend them staff from other department to be able to make that work. And it gives us the peace of mind in terms of accounts payable that I think we've needed for some time. Thank you.
Commissioner Trigger.
Thank you. Along those lines, that's really interesting, and so I'm going to ask a question also in hopes of not just assuring us, but anyone watching. There may have been some things that, because different departments use different systems, get dropped or lost. We generally, almost always, I would hope, I'm looking at Christine, we eventually catch those, but then we have to unwind and rebill, and so the part of the it's upfront efficiency.
Yes.
It's efficiency in cross-training and deepening the bench because everybody knows how to do everything. But it's also efficiency in reducing the amount of time financial folks have to go back and rebuild or recreate a record or repair, or that then a department isn't faced with an expense they didn't anticipate because, oh, it turns out you never paid for the thing. But that we do ultimately and eventually catch these things. It's not that we need to fix something where stuff's just been falling off into a void. So it's every part of the system is creating efficiency. And does that impact our sort of rating, or how does this relate to audits and our rating for fiscal management?
Commissioner Trigger, thank you for the question. So we haven't identified any correlation to the rating, but the means by which we create our audit reports, which have all been clean over the years, but the amount of effort it takes to compile those reports and work with departments across the county is another place where we'll see efficiencies. We have had to request extensions over the years, but they've all come back clean. So the quality of those of the audits haven't been the question so much as the amount of effort it takes to compile that data.
Great, thank you.
Great.
Commissioner Traeger, I think also the goal is to get real-time data. So Greg Rickoff talked about the hundreds of spreadsheets. So when we get a public information request, it takes us a while. And then before he puts something public, we want to make sure that it's audible. And so if we get consistent practices, it gives better real-time reporting, which I think is what the public is expecting in 2025.
Thank you.
Commissioner Farr.
Thank you. No detailed questions about the presentation today, but Mr. Rickoff, I'd like to mention Greg Holmes ever so briefly. Commissioner Buck and I sit on the Finance and Audit Committee, and along with Assessor Schaefer, we are the committee. We get to hear you more often than most people in this room do, and consequently, we get to hear how in-depth your work actually is. You make it seem effortless. You're talking about making it be more effortless to you. To us who watch it, even at the Finance and Audit Committee, it seems effortless. And that is a skill, is a talent that you display on a regular basis, Greg. And I'm just so pleased that you're on the job. You continue a long tradition of fantastic financial management at Lane County. Thank you for being here.
And let me add to that, Greg, I'm hoping you're mentoring someone half as good as you, because the gray in your beard tells me we don't have a lot of years left with you. So thank you so much for what you do. All right, no more discussion. I'm looking for a motion on this item, Vice Chair.
Chair, I have a motion. I move to approve Order 2509-3009 in the matter of approving a contract amendment with Spear MC Management Consulting to implement the grants and commitment control modules in the county's PeopleSoft financial system, and delegating authority to the county administrator to execute the approved amendment and all future contract amendments that do not cause the contract total expense to exceed $2,667,300.
Is there a second?
Second.
Vice Chair is moved, seconded by Commissioner Buck, Order 2509-3009. I will ask for any discussion to the motion. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0 in the matter of approving contract amendment with Spear MC Management Consulting to implement the grants and commitment control modules in the county's PeopleSoft financial system, and delegating authority to the county administrator to execute the approved amendment and all future contract amendments that do not cause the contract total expense to exceed $2,667,300. Gentlemen, Lauren and Greg, thank you so much for all you do. Appreciate you very much. All right, our last item of the morning, because we do have a 1:30 time certain in the afternoon with Health and Human Services, is our county announcements given to us by Mr. Greg Rickoff.
Chair Lovell, I don't have announcements for you. I might ask to revisit that this afternoon, but as of the start of our meeting time, no one had passed on announcements for me.
All right. Anything for the good of the order before we recess? Commissioner Farr.
Actually, yes, and I was hoping you had announcements, because I was going to try to tag this along with your announcement. It's something that I failed to mention earlier in the meeting, and that is that on October 23rd, there is going to be an AAPI Public Safety Forum. That's American Asian Pacific Islander Public Safety Forum. I'll be attending that, and it is in response, in no small part, to specific acts of hate, violence, and aggression toward Asians and Pacific Islanders in our local community. So thank you for your announcements that allowed me to tag that on, albeit a little bit late. So there is the Korean Presbyterian Church, and there is an announcement in the general public on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if there's nothing further, we will recess till 1:30 in the Board of County Commissioners room, where the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners will resume. We are recessed.